What's up, guys? It's Jay, MorninAfterKill, and I'm back here on Borderlands 2. And this is the second episode of my brand new Borderlands 2 series called Borderlands Endgame. In this series, we're pretty much going to be going over everything inside of Borderlands 2 as it stands right now, because there will be players coming in the future that's never played this game, and I wanted to make sure that the information that's out there isn't at level 50 or 61 or just all over the place. We want to go ahead and take a look at this game as it sits right now, with only one more DLC to be released, and that's Son of Cromax, which is coming in April. So today, we are taking a look at Captain Scarlett and the Pirate Booty motherfucking DLC. This is actually the first DLC that was released for Borderlands 2, and it was released less than 1 month after this game was released, and a lot of people really questioned why Gearbox pumped DLC for this game out so early, since they probably could have got away with the first 6 or 7 months of this game being out without releasing any DLC. However, the DLC did cost $10, and Gearbox did push it out less than 1 month after it was released, and I'm actually pretty happy because this is my favorite DLC inside of the game. One of the reasons why this is my favorite DLC inside of the game is not only because it has some pretty memorable and colorful locations. Most notably, my favorite inside this game would be the color scheme that you'll see in Hater's Folly underneath Oasis. It just looks absolutely beautiful. But I actually really do enjoy this campaign. It has some pretty good loot, some pretty good bosses, and some pretty decent missions. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at Borderlands 2 DLC, Captain Scarlett and the Pirate Booty. So the campaign in this DLC is probably about 2 hours long for an average player taking their time and also picking up side quest missions along the way. In this DLC, the only form of transportation that you're actually going to find are going to be the sand skiff boats, which take inspiration from the Return of Jedi scene from Star Wars, where Boba Fett gets knocked into the Sarlacc pit by a blinded Han Solo coming out of carbonite poisoning. So that's actually pretty awesome because I am a very big Star Wars fan, and these boats handle pretty awesome. They strafe, they kind of fly. If you hit a big bump and you hit the booster at the same time, you can take these skiffs pretty far, and I wish they were actually available inside of the other areas that you'll see inside of Borderlands 2, because I enjoy driving them that much. Most of the enemies inside this DLC are reskins of other enemies that you'll see in the regular vanilla Borderlands game, with a few exclusive enemies like pirate ninjas, cursed pirates, sandworms, and even Anchorman, which I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh my god, it's an Anchorman Easter egg. I don't really think so. This is just a dude carrying giant anchors, and they can fuck you up pretty badly. But this DLC introduced a brand new rarity tier, not only to the game, but the Borderlands series itself, called Serif Weapons, and they are pink in color. Now, originally, these Serif Weapons were able to be bought at the Serif vendors with Serif crystals. Later on, inside of the Borderlands 2 life cycle, this was changed with the inclusion of the Ultimate Vault Hunter Mode Pack 1 update. So, Serif crystals now no longer drop in true Vault Hunter mode if you have Ultimate Vault Hunter Mode Pack installed and your character has already moved on to Ultimate Vault Hunter mode. So, the Devastator and the Ahab were taken out of the Serif vendors and given to Master G as drops, while the Evolution Shield, the Retcher, and the Tatler submachine gun were given to Hyperius as drops, and they left the Seraphim Actualizer and the Blood of the Seraph's relic inside of the Serif shop. So, one common theme with these Serif items are the fact that they are pretty much just kind of weaker versions of weapons that already exist inside of Borderlands. So a lot of people really don't put a lot of value on these weapons, since you could pretty much get these weapons in the vanilla game, but with a better version if you pick up the legendary drops. For example, if you take a look at the Devastator is pretty close to the Unkempt Herald, and the Tatler is also pretty close to what the Slagga is, except the Tatler can come in multiple different elements, although you pretty much don't even need it to, because damage over time at endgame in Ultimate Vault Hunter mode is just a little bit pointless because the enemies regenerate health right through your damage over time. But that doesn't mean that there aren't any useful weapons inside of this DLC, because actually 3 of the strongest weapons inside of this game are in this DLC, and those are the Pimpernel Sniper Rifle, the Rapier, and the Sandhawk. All 3 of these weapons are actually highly regarded as the best in their class by a lot of people in this game, and it makes the DLC pretty much worth buying if you still don't have it to this day. So, another highly regarded feature of this DLC is the inclusion of the Treasure Room Armory as a reward for finishing the main storyline. This armory has gained a huge reputation for being able to be glitched into and farmed repeatedly for legendary, and also, later on in the update, pearlescent weapons. Over 6 months after the DLC was released, Gearbox actually attempted to fix this glitch by removing the Leviathan's body after you kill him and have looted the armory. However, you can enter the Leviathan through the lighthouse spotlight, which will allow you to respawn the Leviathan's body and farm it and glitch it just like you've done before. If you don't know how to do that, I will put a link in the description down below to the method on how to get inside the Leviathan and glitch into this treasure room, because it is actually a pretty valuable source of loot if you're one that doesn't use any type of save editor inside of this game. So, the DLC also included 2 raid bosses in the form of a super badass Hyperion motherfucking engineer named Hyperius the Invincible, and also some sort of crazy pirate Jawa looking motherfucker named Master G. Now, Hyperius has 4 robot minions that spawn with huge health. Now, when you go ahead and attack Hyperius from the gate, he will do a double Nova. You can actually get away from this Nova by breaking your line of sight and hiding behind this pipe right at the start of the fight. Your goal in this fight is to damage the minions to the point that they take away Hyperius' shield. Now, once Hyperius' shield is down, he will do a double Nova just like at the start of the fight, and this is unavoidable unless you can get behind the pipe in time. Most of the time, you're probably not going to get out there because he does it so motherfucking fast. But like I said, once you damage these minions enough, they will take their shield that they're supplying Hyperius with away, and Hyperius will be left without a shield, at which point you could pretty much unload on him and try to take him out because he won't be resisting any of your damage anymore. Hyperius is weak to fire, but like I said, his shield does resist most elements and even normal damage. The 2 most common strategies to beating Hyperius are to use singularity grenades in opposite styles. So the first one is to separate the minions from Hyperius, group them up, and damage them all simultaneously to take down Hyperius' shield. Or the second strategy is the strategy that I prefer the most, and is probably one of the quicker ways, is to use a singularity to group all the minions up in front of Hyperius and use Zero's Boar skill to quickly kill Hyperius, because all the hitboxes will overlap and you will get multiplicative damage bonuses for each hitbox that these bullets go through. So using a weapon that has a lot of pellets will help you out with Boar and Hyperius very, very fast. Now, Hyperius actually has a pretty decent loot pool. He can drop the Norfleet, the Shreddifier, the Evolution Shield, the Tattler, and the Retcher, and he's also known to randomly drop other legendary weapons as well. I have seen a Hornet and a Gunnerang come from Hyperius randomly. So, the second raid boss inside of this DLC is gonna be Master G. Now, while Master G is technically easier than Hyperius to kill, he requires a lot of patience and a little bit of know-how of what his mechanics are and how to get around them. So, Master G, first off, has a shield that is impenetrable to any motherfucking damage. You can't hurt him. don't try to shoot that shield. The only way to take that shield out is to get him poisoned with the acid from the pools that the sandworms leave behind when you kill them. These acid pools, if they're not absorbed, they will spread corrosive DOT damage all over the arena, and it will kill you, and it will kill you really fast, especially if you're playing in the overpowered levels. Now, you can actually take 1 or 2 different routes here. You can actually absorb the acid pools for yourself, and it'll give you a little bit of a damage buff that lasts the length of the fight, or you can go ahead and get Master G to absorb the acid pools. But I will warn you, if you do absorb the acid pools, you will be poisoned and you will take damage over time. So be very careful at how many pools of acid that you actually absorb. So once Master G's true shield is eaten away by the acid, he will show that he actually has another shield underneath, and that signals that he's ready to take damage from you. So at this point, it's just a matter of damaging Master G until he dies, except Master G has some insane health values, and managing the acid pools and trying to kill him at the same time can become a daunting task for any solo player, no matter what their skill level is. So one of the most effective ways to take Master G's shield down very quickly is to bring a Slag Ruby or a Slag Grog Nozzle and keeping him slagged while his first shield is being worn down from the damage over time. Another good strategy is to bring a Big Boom Blaster shield, which you can get inside of the Torque DLC, and we'll be talking about the Torque DLC next week. But you can purposely absorb an acid pool with the Big Boom Blaster, and this will constantly keep spawning boosters because you will be poisoned, and that will keep your shield up, and the boosters replenish rockets and grenades, allowing you to have an almost infinite supply of singularity grenades to keep sucking him back into the acid pools. That's probably one of the most effective ways I've seen to kill Master G, especially if you're doing it solo, because you are going to need a whole hell of a lot of grenades to get him sucked back in that acid pool. And if you're playing in a 4-player party, it makes good sense to bring at least 1 Gunzerker and 1 Siren. So that's pretty much a rough breakdown of what you can expect inside of the Captain Scarlett and the motherfucking Pirate Booty DLC inside of Borderlands 2 as it sits right now inside of Endgame. So my name is Jay, MorninAfterKill. Make sure you guys rate, comment, subscribe. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you could leave a thumbs up on the video, I'd highly appreciate it, because it gives me motivation to make more videos for you motherfuckers that watch my motherfucking videos. This was episode 2 of Borderlands Endgame. Later on this week, we will be taking a look at the weapons from this DLC inside of separate gun guides, and episode 3 of Borderlands Endgame will resume next week with Mr. Torgue's campaign of motherfucking carnage. So, my name is Jay, MorninAfterKill. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna see you guys later.